Hi everyone, our guest today, Arti Shah, holds 7 professional and wellness certifications, with the last one completed just a month ago. As the founder of Fit by Design, she believes that fitness is not achieved just by the body, but also by the mind. She's fierce, she's focused, she is uncut. Welcome to yet another episode of Uncut Dialogues, created by Natasha Chopra and produced by Uncut by Aditi Amin. Hi, Arti. Welcome to the Uncut Dialogues.
Thank you, Aditi.
So let's begin. Tell me about Fit by Design. What's the philosophy and how did you arrive at it?
So, the philosophy of Fit by Design is that fitness is way more than physical. It is emotional, it is mental, it is energetic, and deeply rooted to the relationship that we have with ourselves. I arrived at this philosophy from my own personal journey. Never an athlete, was never into fitness, but I went through a tough postpartum and learned some profound lessons. I had taken a sabbatical from a corporate career, raising my child. And in that phase, in that season, I realized how unhealthy I was, both physically and mentally. The only thing I knew to do was to go for a walk. My walks turned into runs. I started to get stronger. But before I could see a change on the outside, something within me started to shift. And I connected with that. That was a very profound lesson for me that fitness was not physical. It is mental, it changed my energy levels, and that's how my journey into fitness really started. And when I came out of that phase, it became my passion to help other women find a way to connect again with themselves and navigate through different seasons of life.
Amazing. Physical health and mental health are connected, as you say. So, can you tell me a little more about it?
Sure, Aditi. A lot of times when we talk about physical fitness, we think of a number on a scale or nutrition or diet. But essentially, the mind and the body are in constant communication with each other. If you don't feel great in your mind, for example, for instance, you can go for a walk and it instantly makes you feel good. If you're not feeling great in your body that day, you can sit and meditate or journal, and that can change your energy levels. So, the body and the mind are really two different pieces of the same puzzle. You cannot really leave one out and expect a holistic health or fitness. The one thing that bridges between the mind and the body is your nervous system. A lot of times, and especially as women, and we play different roles, we navigate through different seasons of lives, we experience emotions, especially anxiety or fear of any sort. um, the first response that your brain does is its job is to protect you. And the first response is a nervous system hijack. What I mean by that is your cortisol spikes, your heart rate increases, maybe your gut is thrown off. There is a lot of ways to bring yourself back to that balance. So when I say nervous system regulation, it does not mean that we should not experience stress or that our cortisol is the enemy. It really means how do we bring and navigate through the stress and bring that balance back. And it can be through movement. The easiest way to do that is through your breath. Bring yourself in a present moment with your breath. Usually, when we experience fear, there is a fight or a flight response.
Sure.
Either it's something in the future or it's something in the past, right? So the first response is you're not in the present moment. You can go for a walk, sunlight, journal, talk to a friend, a loved one. Movement is, of course, medicine. And the easiest, like I mentioned, is your breath to bring you back to your present moment.
Now, this is really interesting, especially in today's time where fitness for so many of us has become a number on the scale or trying to fit a body type. How do we educate ourselves, especially when we have teenage kids at home?
That's a great question. I am a teenage mom and I do worry about it at times. I think the most powerful thing we can do as parents is to create a healthy relationship with our body and redefine fitness for ourselves first.
So, what you're saying is that we try and set an example for themselves.
Yes. Instead of talking about body shaming with them, instead of telling your son or your daughter, you look amazing the way you are, and then body shaming our own selves, not choosing the right nutrition for ourselves, not showing up for our own movement practices. I think children today are watching us very closely rather than listening to us very carefully.
I agree on that.
Aditi, our teens today are growing up in an environment which is of constant competition and comparison. And then we fail to model it for them. It makes it doubly hard for them to understand. Also, we want to raise boys and girls who are not obsessed with how they look and with their bodies, but who actually feel more at home and confident with themselves.
Absolutely.
And I think one very powerful thing we can do is to steer them towards strength training, both boys and girls, at a younger age. Teach them how to get stronger and enjoy that process of really building trust and resilience through their bodies within themselves.
It's beautifully put. So, Arti, moving to my next question, there's so much information about wellness and fitness on the internet. And I believe not only us, but our kids are, I think, over informed. So, how do you know what's right and what's not?
So, Aditi, I always tell people be curious, but not convinced.
That's a good one.
There is so much information out there. I can only imagine how overwhelming it can feel, especially to the younger generation. So, always be curious, don't get convinced. Also, good coaches will always be about educating you, energizing you, empowering you. They will not be selling quick solutions. There is no one exercise to get the six pack abs. There is no one supplement which is like a magic drug. That's one great way to differentiate who is authentic versus who is not. Also, just because somebody has a lot of followers may not mean that they have the necessary knowledge or the right intentions for you at times, which is also a great thing to look out for. One question I would want people to ask themselves is whoever they follow or whatever information they are consuming, does that make them feel inspired or empowered, or does that make them feel more broken? Because here's the thing, if somebody is trying to tell you you have a problem and there is a quick fix for it, it is not educating you, it's more like exploiting you.
Absolutely.
And I would love for them to ask that question.
It's very interesting because most of these content, I think, make you feel like you lack something. And that's the understanding I think you want
Yes.
people.
That's just great marketing. That's not educating.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Aarti, you work so closely with women and wellness. The question that I want to ask you is that women always have this quest of getting into the body that they once were in. And is that a bad thing to expect?
I honestly don't think there's a good thing, bad thing, but it's very human to long for a version of you, an old version of you. And I feel very compassionate every time I hear a woman say that. However, it's very important to redefine two things. First is the season of life you are in, the demands of that season you might have. And secondly, what is it that you are longing for?
Right.
Is it the way you felt or is it the way you looked? Two different things. A few questions I would want women to answer is, what does the new season of life look like to them? As women, we role play, we have so many different responsibilities. We need to show up for others all the time. Different seasons, different challenges, different mindsets, different bodies, different hormones. And then to be hooked and so attached to a version of you that no longer exists, it kind of limits you from becoming who you need to become, and stop you and limit you from who you can be even today. So, the first question I would ask women is, what season of life are you in? The second question I would want them to reflect on is, what does this season demand of you? And it can mean different things to different women. The third question is to set a goal. And the fourth important question is, why is this goal so important? Unless you have defined your why, it is going to be very difficult for you to show up for yourself. Because fitness, just like life, is not linear. You're not going to continuously get results. You're not going to continuously want to show up. What is your why, and why is your goal matter, and how is that serving a particular season of life that you are in? And last but not the least, and this is where the coach comes in, is, are you willing to do what it takes to achieve that goal? So rather than focusing and spending so much energy on somebody that you used to be, I think we need to take account of our health today, where we need to go, what does the next decade look like, and then think about it and kind of redefine fitness. I personally really feel and I believe in this, Aditi, that we are all constantly evolving. True. And as we evolve as women in our roles, in our mindsets, in our bodies, our fitness too needs to evolve with us. Absolutely. The one thing I always encourage women to do is answer these questions. And when you answer these questions, it helps you redefine your fitness. It helps you put a strategic goal and plan. And to give you an example, I have women that work out with me that are lifting way heavier in their 40s and 50s than they ever did in their 20s. Wow. They're actually in the driver's seat, looking ahead, planning their next decade, doing what it takes, and not really only attached to who they used to be, but actually made it even better. It's amazing. If a person stays too attached to an old version of themselves, they can miss the opportunity to who they need to become today. And hence, it is very important to change the narrative around their fitness, around their goals, and what they really want to do with their life, their passions, their purpose. I know it sounds very philosophical, but the same thing applies to fitness and health and mindset.
And my last question to you, Arti, you have been motivating women for over 15 years with wellness and fitness. Tell me what motivates you.
Wow. In all honesty, Aditi, it is such a privilege to do what I do and to be able to show up for others. And it's a lot of gratitude, it's a lot of preparation, it's a lot of behind the scenes hard work to put these designs together and create different programs and nutrition for my students. And but I love every bit of it. And just the fact that you can be there for someone and you can help them navigate is such a humbling feeling. And that really motivates me. I think the excitement of the next decade and further on, the next season and the season of life I'm in motivates me to show up. It is such an honor, such a privilege to have a body that can move. Movement is ritual for me. Breathing, breath work, mindset, these are incredible life tools. And I have been so fortunate not only to be a student every single day of my life, but to also hold space for so many others. And that motivates me to show up every single day.